Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining today's webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about winning email campaigns to ring in 2018. Quick introduction on myself. I have over a decade of online experience. I deliver strategic knowledge of campaign optimization, industry standards, best practices, things like that. My job here at What Counts is really to help our clients become the best marketers that they can be and to really optimize their online campaigns, web forms, things like that. So with that introduction, I'm just going to go ahead and dive on in. Today's agenda, we'll touch on some industry-specific post-holiday stats and campaigns for e-commerce and for travel. And the reason that we're touching on those two is because we have a lot of clients that fall within that. A lot of folks that are attending the webinar today fall within those categories. So we wanted to make it as relevant as possible for everyone attending today. We'll also cover predicted email trends, and then we'll have some quick key takeaways for you. So jumping right in, let's talk about e-commerce and look at some industry-specific post-holiday stats and campaigns. Now, the stats and stuff that I'm going to cover are actually from last year's holiday season, because we're really in the midst of this year's. We don't have all the wrap-ups and things like that. So as we're going through these slides, just know that I'm talking about 2016 and sometimes 2016 compared to the 2015 post-holiday season. So last year, consumers showed more confidence during the holiday season than they had the year before. Holiday retail sales actually increased during November and December by 4% over the year before, which led to $658.3 billion in sales. It did exceed the National Retail Federation's forecast of $655.8 billion. So that's good news. Last year's holiday season performed better than expected. And non-store sales were up 12.6%. And then the month of December in general was up 3.2% year over year. So last year's holiday season was a pretty good one. And then the growth rate of e-commerce during the holidays, it keeps outpacing growth in stores. That's probably not really a surprise to many of us. The convenience of online shopping makes it so easy just to place your orders wherever you are. And with mobile devices and stuff, it's just getting easier and easier, and people are taking advantage of that. Forrester Research did predict that early on that online sales for November and December last year would be around 110 billion or greater. And so there was a 13% rise over 2015, and that prediction actually came true. Sales were just really good. And then online retailers saw their biggest Cyber Monday ever in 2016, which was over 3.3 billion. That's huge. We'll probably see bigger numbers this year and then maybe bigger next year. It's just, such a popular online shopping day, and all of these retailers are giving just really great deals that people can't seem to pass up. Last year, nearly every day following Cyber Monday topped $1 billion in web sales. And that's a big deal because if we look back, to 2010, the only day that hit $1 billion in sales was Cyber Monday. And now it's just the typical thing to expect that retailers are hitting their numbers and making great sales. And so overall, they're seeing, $1 billion in web sales every day, each day, which is huge. And then the week following Christmas can deliver up to 10% of overall holiday sales. So that's a lot of what we'll talk about today, just because, we're in the midst, of holiday season. You get all your sales out, and it's a big push to drive revenue. And then, the holidays are over, and it's kind of, well, what do we do now? And there's actually a lot of opportunity out there after, the Christmas or holiday sales happen. There's a lot of opportunity to continue to drive revenue. So we'll have ideas for things like that in just a few minutes. Overall, shoppers will be looking for post-holiday deals in stores and online. You can see here that 47.2% shopped in store and 43.1% online. This was numbers for the last year's holiday season for 2016. And then deep discounts of 50% or more made up more than half of the offers that were given to consumers in the week after Christmas. Um, that doesn't mean that lower offers can't bring in revenue. As we can see from this chart here on the right, lower offers can also generate high transaction rates during post-Christmas sales. So if you can't offer 50% or more, I work with a number of clients whose hands are just tied. They can't give big deals. They can't give steep discounts, things like that. And they have to get pretty creative with their offers from time to time. But that doesn't mean it's not worth them doing after holiday sales, even if they can't give those big, steep discounts. They're still going to be able to drive sales and drive some revenue. So if you can't give those big 50% off offers, don't worry about it. Go ahead and offer what you can. And it's certainly going to be better than doing nothing, but I think you may be surprised by some of the sales that come through. Last year for the holiday season, the average unique open rate during that time was about 16.9%, and the average transaction rate was around 0.05. So you can do some things to help with open rate, of course. You can do subject line testing, time of day testing, day of the week testing, things like that. But also, during the holiday season, a lot of folks, their inboxes are just getting flooded. And it'll taper off after, the holidays, but it's still kind of a busy time. So remailing might be something that you want to do as well to help with, getting those opens. People might miss the first email if you send it early in the morning, but if you send again, to folks who didn't open or didn't click later in the afternoon, that can make all the difference. Just hitting them at a different time of day sometimes is all it takes to get that sale. They could have gotten distracted or just checking their email at a time when they weren't able to make the purchase, and getting them later they can. So I definitely encourage you with your campaigns for after the holidays to definitely send some remails. Now, not necessarily send 6 a day or 10 a day like some retailers do for things like, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but, a remail later in the day should be fine. And then as far as post-holiday blues, so, during the holidays, folks are just shopping, they're in purchase mode. And then after the holidays, folks kind of get that post-holiday hangover. So email marketing is a good way to encourage them to kind of get out of that feeling, get out of that rut, and, give them ideas of ways that they can, still save, get great deals, things like that. So email is a great place to showcase your products and services, and it can really give them like a pick-me-up that they need. So some popular e-commerce campaigns, we definitely see a number of post-holiday campaign themes for the e-commerce industry for things like a look-back email, which is simply an email that looks back at, the previous year's trends. So it would be like, hey, let's take a look back at what was popular in 2017. And maybe you can touch on some things that may still continue to be popular, or highlight things that will be popular, or trend for 2018. A look back email could also, talk about products that were best sellers and then offer some discounts on those, going into the new year. Of course, a New Year's Day campaign is a popular campaign to send for e-commerce companies. And these can have offers in them, or they cannot have offers in them. I see them both ways all the time. But sending a New Year's Day campaign, whether you can put an offer in it or not, is just a great kind of goodwill type message, wishing people the best of the new year and things like that. And it also gives you a place to showcase some products that either you might need to clear out to make way for new inventory, or showcase products that are new for 2018. So that's definitely a campaign I think most companies can and should do. Another campaign is gift accessories and add-ons. So think about all of the gifts that people are given for the holiday season. A lot of those gifts probably have things that can make it, perform better, or, just little add-on accessories and things like that. So this is a great time after the holidays to showcase those accessories. If you have some kind of if you have the ability to know what folks have purchased and you can target these add-on type messages based on what they purchased, like if I purchased a smartphone and then you can target the accessories for that specific phone directly to me, that would definitely be ideal. But even if you don't have that deep of a capability, just showcasing some of your general, maybe most popular or the newest add-ons could be an effective campaign. And then for the back in stock campaigns, these are, a lot of things go out of stock during the holiday season, especially very popular items. Maybe there's items that companies don't expect to be so popular, so they don't have enough inventory for people to get it during the holiday season. So a back in stock message is a good campaign to send if you have something like that happen and then you're able to get more inventory in pretty quickly after the holidays. It's a great way to just say, hey, this was so popular and we've got it back in stock. Now's the time to buy, before it's gone again or something like that. Extending free shipping can also be a great campaign. This doesn't necessarily have to be like a standalone message. This could be just a banner or a call out within your messages for other campaigns. But basically, just like extending free shipping is great. A lot of folks are just, they're kind of spoiled by things like Amazon Prime and stuff like that, and they just don't want to pay for shipping. So if you can extend any free shipping promos, that might help give folks the nudge that they need to go ahead and make the purchase. And then after Christmas and holiday sales, that's a great message, a great time to just clear out extra inventory and kind of, make way for the products that are going to be coming in next. So we see a lot of after Christmas and holiday sales. I'd say with these, you definitely need an offer and, a clearance type or a blowout sale type of message, just letting folks know, hey, we're making way for new products. If you didn't get it, now's the time. We won't have it anymore, that kind of stuff. And then Boxing Day. Boxing Day, even though it's not necessarily like a U.S. type of a day, it is something that a lot of companies will take advantage of. As you can see here, this J. Crew example did their take on Boxing Day, and they offered a sale. And actually, Boxing Day ends up being a very high revenue day for a lot of e-commerce companies. So I'd say, do a fun spin like J. Crew did or put your own spin on it, but definitely try sending a campaign on Boxing Day. And then holiday storage and organization. So, folks have all these decorations and things that they've put out to make their, house or business feel very festive during the holiday season. And then once that's, the season is past, it's time to store all that, to box it up and put it somewhere. So if your company sells holiday storage organization products, it's definitely a time to showcase those kinds of products and let people know how you can help them, organize and make things easy for them after the holiday's over. And then gift card redemption. So we've got a ton of folks that are going to be getting gift cards for holidays, and we want to be able to remind them, hey, gift cards, go ahead and redeem them now. We're having great sales in the store. Come on in, that kind of stuff. So, or online, if you don't have an actual physical location. And then another type of message is get what you really wanted. So this is for folks who maybe wanted some certain present and they didn't get it. Well, now's the time to kind of message and say, hey, spoil yourself. The holidays are done. You're done buying for everyone else. Now get what you really wanted. So these are all campaigns that are pretty typical for the e-commerce industry, and they tend to do pretty well after the holidays. So hopefully you've got some of these planned to send out for early 2018. But let's look at a couple other examples. So this one's around this post-holiday blues. It's a Sephora email, and they do a good job of calling out that post-holiday blues front and center. So that's likely to speak to a lot of folks during this time of year when that message went out. And they're really letting the subscriber know that Sephora is there to help. They're doing that by saying, hey, we've pulled together an arsenal of products to get you looking and feeling better instantly. And then they showcase their products. They use really visually appealing imagery, and they do a good job of explaining how each product can help that person beat the blues, right? They also have a nice clear call to action for each of the products so that folks know immediately what they're supposed to do, what, the next step is. And they've done a good job of using the S-curve, which makes for really easy online reading. So what I mean by that is, the message just kind of goes in this curve format. Instead of having all of the images on the left-hand side and the verbiage on the right-hand side, they're kind of swapping it as you go down the message, which is great. It just makes it an easier message for folks to digest when they're looking at something online. So little takeaway there for you if you haven't tried an S-curve type format. I've also heard it called a Z-curve. Definitely give it a shot and see if it helps folks interact with your message, encourages them to scroll a little more and things like that. Okay, and here's a post-holiday winter weather example from Sears. So, after the holidays, most retailers start prepping their shelves for spring and summer products. But really, when it's wintertime and a lot of the United States still at that time. So if your company sells products or services that are weather appropriate, whether it's, equipment like the Sears one, or whether it's, weather apparel or anything like that, getting things for your car, anything like that that could make it more weather appropriate. These messages can really help to just remind folks and encourage them to make those purchases. And then, assuming that you only have basic targeting capabilities, you'd want to be sure that you would filter out warm weather states from these types of mailings, because if I was in Florida and I got this, that would be a little odd, right? I'm likely not going to get much snow if I'm down in, southern Florida. So this wouldn't make much sense for me to get. If you have more capabilities to filter, it would be nice if, the cold weather states see this kind of stuff, but then maybe folks in the warmer states see emails that have other types of products. So that would be ideal. But at a minimum, just make sure that you're not sending these types of messages to those warmer states where it wouldn't make sense and those folks would not be buying those products. And then we've got the New Year themed example. So really, New Year for a lot of people, it marks the time for renewal and fresh beginnings, and a lot of brands play off that time of year with like the New Year, New You theme. It's a really easy theme for a lot of businesses to use, and I would say if you want to send out this type of email, just be sure that you're choosing products and services that go along with maybe the theme of renewal or fresh beginnings, or maybe you're showcasing new products that are coming in for the new year, what's going to be trending, things like that. And then provide inspiration for folks in ways in which they can use your products and services. So, for example, here's 3 ways to style your home with lighting, and you're featuring lighting within that email, or 5 ways to clear out clutter for a fresh start, and give them examples of ways that they can do that and how they can use your product to help them make that happen. So these emails that I have here, these examples, do a good job of highlighting trends and how their products can help folks achieve that certain trendy look. So that's great. I wanted to take a moment. I meant to mention at the beginning that if anyone has questions, please let us know in the little question area, and then we'll follow up after the presentation to get those questions answered. So definitely, if you haven't already been asking questions, go ahead and let us know if you have any as we go through the campaign or through the presentation. So our next slide is playing off of resolutions. And actually 45% of American adults make at least one resolution each year. And the top New Year's resolutions are things like get healthy, get organized, live life to the fullest, learn new hobbies, let me spend less and save more. I don't think anybody's resolving to spend more. I'm going to travel more, I'm going to read more, things like that are the typical resolutions for folks. So if your products or services fall anywhere within those categories, you should look at sending out a New Year themed campaign, and really be sure to tout the new year prominently and describe again how your products and services can help folks keep their resolutions. So definitely something I think a lot of retailers can take advantage of. And then we've got the goodwill follow-up. So charitable giving accounted for 2.1% of gross domestic product in 2016. A lot of folks take part in things like Giving Tuesday and things like that. So even if your business isn't directly related to giving, many businesses will choose a charity or foundation to support during the holiday season, and they'll encourage their subscribers and their followers to help and participate in giving to that particular foundation. And email is really a great way to follow up after the fact and let folks know, hey, here's how big of an impact that we made this season. And, a lot of it is thanks to you. So in this type of an email, be sure to include information on the charity, of course, or the foundation. Tell how your company and your customers made an impact. And then you can invite the reader to make an additional contribution like this West Elm example does here. They do a good job of really recapping how much they contributed to the cause and asking for further donations. So short and sweet and simple message, but effective. Now let's jump to travel, and we'll speak real quickly about some industry-specific post-holiday stats and campaigns around travel, and then we'll look at some examples for that industry. So the holiday travel season extended over 21 days from December 16th through January 5th. The best days for travel were December 24th, 25th, 31st, and January 1st. Here we have the busiest days at 5 of the largest airports, just to show you kind of, the hubs of where everyone's traveling from and to, and some of the dates and stuff. I believe you're going to get this deck after the presentation, so you'll be able to, look at those dates and, all of that if you want to have a closer look at that then. January has traditionally been a vital time in the travel calendar. So travel merchants do everything they can to get their brand in front of consumers, of course. And a lot of this is due to priorities shifting from folks panicking about shopping for, Christmas and Hanukkah and things like that, to planning for summer holidays. Now we're past the winter holidays. It's time to start thinking about, okay, where are we going to go? Are we going to have to fly? Are we going to, drive? How are we going to get there? Where are we going to stay? All of that stuff. So people really start thinking about that in more depth right after the holiday season. So great time for the travel industry to start really targeting folks pretty aggressively. And actually, December 26th is the perfect date to launch a travel campaign. December 26th clicks surpassed the total click numbers for the 5 days prior. So just shows that that's really when people start looking for travel deals and things like that. It's kind of a slow uptake in orders after, Christmas Day. But on January 5th, there were 320% more sales than on Christmas Eve. So it just shows folks are out there. They're looking for those deals and things like that. During the week of Christmas Eve to the end of December, consumers were booking travel for around the week of May 7th. But then when you move to the first 2 weeks of January, you see that folks are actually looking to book travel for into April timeframe. So there's a little bit of a shift that goes on there, just so that you can understand kind of where the mindset is for folks who are looking to book travel. And then folks that are booking travel in January, they're really booking their trips from, anywhere from really April, May into mid-June. So they're planning out for like the next 6 months worth of travel. Now, this is just a quick chart to show traffic sources for some of the major airlines, and email marketing would fall within that direct category. So you can see lots of attention there. Here it is for online booking sites like Airbnb and hotels.com and things like that. Again, less folks or less businesses, doing display. More organic searches driving traffic, referrals, and then of course direct advertising. And then for rental cars, which is definitely part of travel, people have to rent cars once they get there, or they rent cars to get there. So you can see for some of these businesses, organic search plays a big part, but also direct search direct marketing as well. And then we have these leading states for visits per capita, so Georgia, Florida, Hawaii, Tennessee. This is from enterprise.com. So it's just, if you've got locations within these states, these are places where folks are traveling. So definitely want to be targeting folks who are wanting to go to those locations and let them know, hey, we're there and here's where we are and here's what we have to offer and things like that. Now let's look at some travel campaigns that are popular for the travel industry. We've got winter trips, which we've kind of covered when people start looking for their, spring and summer trips. But winter trips can be a good thing to advertise if you've got some spaces available that you're looking to fill. Encourage folks to take a last-minute winter trip. It's not too late to book, that kind of stuff. Encourage folks to gift a trip or a voucher. This is a good thing for folks who really have everything. What do you give them? Well, give them a voucher, toward a trip that they might want to take the next year. Travel for the new year. So for all those, one of the resolutions is that people want to travel more. So we want to speak to those folks with some email campaigns and really encourage them to, be more adventurous and get out there and see the world and things like that. Email is a great way to do that and use, imagery that's really inspiring and really gives them that want to go book their travels and keep that resolution. And then last minute New Year's Eve deal. So these are a pretty typical campaign that a lot of companies will send out, and this can work for the travel industry as well, where, hey, we have some spots open. Come to, wherever you're located and, celebrate New Year's here. Here's a great package that we have for New Year's, that kind of stuff. And then what to pack. So this could be helpful for folks who are traveling, just letting them know, hey, you're headed to, sunny Hawaii for New Year's. Well, don't forget to pack, the sunscreen and this and that. Post-holiday blues, again, it works for e-commerce and it can work for the travel industry as well. Hey, get out of that holiday funk. Need a vacation from your vacation, that kind of a theme, and just encourage folks to book some travel and have something to look forward to after kind of the chaos sometimes of the holiday season. And then, of course, planning ahead for spring break and summer vacation. Like we said, starting December 24th, a lot of folks are going to start looking to book. So go ahead and start advertising your locations and things like that for spring break and summer vacation. A popular campaign for travel for after the holidays is a thank you message. So 92% of businesses that send post-purchase emails saying thank you to their customers agree that that kind of email is effective. It really goes a long way with instilling a sense of goodwill and can make people more loyal to the brand and things like that. Just gives them that nice cozy feeling. So an email saying thank you to your customers after they purchase at your store, can go a long way. But not all thank you emails have to follow a specific purchase. So for instance, if you've got post-purchase campaigns in place already that are maybe automated or whatever that thank folks for their purchase and, maybe showcase other products and things like that they might be interested in, you can send emails like this to folks, even if they haven't had a specific purchase, but just say, hey, thanks for a great 2017. Here's looking toward, an even better 2018. And just kind of have some inspiring imagery and things like that and let them know, like this email does here, hey, find out more. And you could click through and go find out more about destinations and things that are going on there and stuff like that. So that's a campaign that could certainly work well for after the holidays. And then there's an example here from Hilton Honors where they do a great job of using seasonally appropriate imagery. And they're clearly thanking the reader for helping the past year be a great one and wishing them a wonderful new year. This does not incorporate a sales pitch at all, if you notice. It's just, hey, we're wishing you health, happiness, and exciting travels. An email like this is definitely considered a goodwill message. It's going to be a breath of fresh air to subscribers who have been pounded with buy, book, book, book. This is just a nice message for them to get, and it can help solidify your brand as a go-to for future, purchases, future bookings, things like that. And then, of course, it has the ability to be clicked through to, go explore Hilton Honors and things like that. Check out the offers. So it's not like people can't do anything if they want to, but it's not just a hey, book now and save kind of a communication. So it will be a little bit of kind of a nice, refreshing break for folks in their inbox. And then for travel, an inspirational type message is great for after the holidays. Email marketers should be looking to build an engaged audience of people that know and trust their brand. And really providing inspiring content in emails can help convert your audience into paying customers in the future. So this Hilton Honors example here does a good job of using open-ended verbiage to get the reader to answer the question themselves. So for example, where to next? And they're showcasing some great locations, and they have many, many more as well. So it kind of like, piques your interest, gets you thinking, well, where do I want to go? And if I don't want to go to one of these four, hey, let me click through and find out where else, because now I'm inspired and I'm ready to check it out. They incorporate stunning photography of popular destinations, and the aim there is really to get the folks inspired and want to click through and want to, explore the site and book destinations. And they're providing multiple options without having it be too overwhelming. So there's 4 options here, right? And it says explore. But there's many, many, many more options, of course, where Hilton has locations and, they want folks to travel to. But they didn't try to cram a ton into this message. They kept it nice and simple and very appealing, which is great. And then there's that one clear call to action for everything, which is explore. So I think it's a nice, simple, effective campaign that they did. And here we have an example of contests. So online contests are one of the easiest ways to get new customers and reconnect with customers that you already have. Contests can generally be pretty quick to set up, affordable to run, and they tend to be good list growth drivers. So this example from Hotel.com announces their contest where they're giving away a trip for 12 days. They've encouraged folks to share your acts of random travel kindness to be entered in the contest. But I thought this was a good example to showcase, hey, here's a contest and here's how a company did it. But this is an example of maybe a way that something could have been a little bit better. So their click to use call to action is a little confusing. Click to enter or even share now, since they're wanting, folks to share their acts of random travel kindness. Maybe those could have been better call to actions. If you have the capabilities, it's something where you could certainly test the call to action within the buttons to see what works best. And then I definitely think they should have included share with your network links call outs to help this campaign have more of a viral effect. They've got the follow us links, but they missed out on the share aspect of it. So if you're running any kind of contest online after the holidays, or anytime really, be sure to include those share with your network links within the contest messages, even if those aren't links that you would typically include with your general campaigns. Okay, and here we have spring break. So back to, hey, people start looking December 24th for, deals in, the early part of the new year. Spring break, it's a huge travel time, and it's really the first big opportunity for travel in the new year. So travel companies should be sending campaigns that are looking to inspire folks to go ahead and book their spring break travel. So again, like with the other travel campaigns we've covered, showcase imagery of the travel location prominently, potentially feature pricing like they've done here in this Groupon Getaways example, and then include a small description about each location. And of course, always have that clear call to action like Groupon has done here with view deal for each one of these. Okay, so that gets us through all of the examples section, and now we're going to touch quickly on predicted email trends. So the first one is micro moments. And micro moments are really intent-driven moments of decision-making and preference shaping that occur throughout an entire customer journey. Micro moments are useful, they're quick, they're one-touch access, and they help acquire customer trust and build long-lasting relationships. So really with micro moments, as mobile has become very indispensable as part of our daily lives, I mean, we have our phones everywhere with us all the time. You look around anywhere and there's probably 10 people nearby that have their phone either sitting right next to them or they're on it looking at it. So what used to be really predictable daily sessions online has been replaced by more fragmented interactions that now occur instantaneously because we have this at our fingertips now. So micro moments occur when people reflexively turn to a device to act on a need to either learn something, discover something, watch something, buy something. So really smartphones have trained us to expect brands to really immediately deliver exactly what we're looking for at exactly when we're looking for it. Of smartphone users, 69% of leisure travelers search for travel ideas during spare moments, for example, when they're standing in line at a store or something like that. And nearly half of those go on to book their choices through a separate channel. So they're looking, maybe not necessarily purchasing right then, but they're definitely doing their research in the moment. And then 91% of folks look up information on their smartphones while they're in the middle of a task. I know a lot of folks that do that. And then 82% consult their phones while they're standing in a store deciding which product to buy. I'm big on that. I do that. I look at reviews. I look for best prices, all kinds of stuff like that. So a ton of people are shopping in this way, and it's all because of our smartphones. And then 69% of online consumers do agree that the quality, timing, and relevancy of a company's message influences their perception of a brand. So really, the brands that are going to be successful are those that have a strategy to not only understand, but to meet customer needs in those micro moment type situations. Okay. Now we're going to look at predicted trend number 2. So video and email. Visualization definitely matters more than ever. And when video is included in the email, people tend to accept and attach to the message on a deeper level, and they tend to take considerable action in terms of likes, shares, things like that. So it definitely makes your content more engaging and more shareable. And video and email, in that regard, it leads to more engagement, more page views, more time spent on page, things like that. And there are companies like LiveClicker that can have video played within the email. Like as you open the email, you don't have to click it or anything. It'll just start to play the email. There's different options, different companies that do that, but it's definitely something that if you haven't been using video and email, you should start. It doesn't have to be long videos. Shorter videos tend to be more share worthy. Somebody's not necessarily going to sit there and watch a 15-minute video, but they'd be more likely to watch something that's, somewhere between 15 seconds to a minute long, and share that. So those are some things to think about. If you have some video currently at your fingertips that you're able to incorporate into some campaigns, I would definitely encourage you to go ahead and start doing that and just take a look and see what it does for your engagement. And if you don't have videos at your fingertips, hopefully you have plans to create at least some short little videos that you can then start incorporating into some of your either promotional campaigns or maybe some of your automated campaigns that you send out on a regular basis. Predicted trend number 3 is around smart content, and really smart content is content that's intelligently personalized to your customers' needs. So call to action buttons directed to users perform 42% better than generic call to action buttons, and 61% of customers prefer a company that creates customer individualized content. Not every company is doing this yet, but it's definitely something that they need to be looking at. You need to start knowing your customers and predicting what they might want to see, what they're interested in, things like that. But also, a lot of companies have information on their contacts already, and they just aren't using it yet. For example, maybe they have preference information, like, how often someone wants to hear from them or what state someone lives in. You can use that for geo-targeting and showcase things that are local, showcase imagery that's, more appealing to someone in Hawaii versus if somebody's in Maine, you can showcase different imagery that would speak more to them because they, live there, and they're, to palm trees in Maine might not make sense. People are just starting to expect to have smarter marketing, smarter content in their inbox, and they're not going to tolerate companies that just, continue to batch and blast to the masses and don't have any sort of, individualized content whatsoever. So it's definitely something that I would encourage those of you who aren't doing it, or maybe just doing it a little bit, to take it further and, start paying attention to what folks are purchasing and, how often they're purchasing and things like that, and really start to get more targeted with your content. And then for number 4, it's really about how the emails look. So there's a couple different things within this section. And the first one here is spiced up backgrounds. So boring white backgrounds are going to be, kind of fading into the background. And, folks or companies are going to start using things like pastels, gradients, imagery that goes edge to edge, animation, things like that. So we're going to look at some of those. Here's some pastels, just a little bit more interesting than plain white backgrounds. And then we've got gradients, which adds a little more interest, of course, right? Nice and pretty to look at. And then edge-to-edge imagery, which I think is very grabbing, very appealing. We're going to start seeing more and more of this within emails and things like that. And then animation. So animation is something that can help capture interest, help the message be less flat, but it's not actually, like a video or something like that takes maybe a lot more production time. So this is something that if you haven't played around with animation, I would definitely encourage you to do so. And then you can do simple things like if you have a commercial, make it into a GIF and use it within your emails like they've done here for Nike. Commercials are very expensive and time consuming to produce, so you can get more traction of it by slicing some of the best scenes into GIFs and incorporating it into email campaigns. It'll help make the email more eye-catching and will help reiterate your branding by having the message repeating what the viewer may have seen elsewhere, like when they're watching television. Here's another one that's just an example of commercial GIFs being used. So you can see how simply they've done it here. And then you can actually click that and play the video if you wanted. And then pulsing buttons. So this is cool. It takes that call to action button a little bit further and makes it more attention grabbing, right? Like that really grabs your attention when you see that button pulsing like that. It's not something that's overdone at the moment, but it can definitely help capture the reader's attention. So it's definitely something that might be easy for you to try. Here's another example of some pulsing buttons. They're kind of wiggling around, and that definitely grabs your attention when you look at this message. And then we have trend number 7, boxing your content. So box content is very visually appealing, and it scales up and down nicely in the responsive design format. It can go from 4 columns to 2 columns or up to 6 columns. It's all really based on screen size. But here's some examples of what we mean by boxing your content. So let's touch really quickly on some quick key takeaways for you today. For e-commerce, shoppers will be looking for deals online, and emails and websites need to be mobile responsive. Folks are going to be looking for these deals right after Christmas Day, and even in some cases like the travel industry, they're going to be looking, on Christmas Eve. So make sure that you're getting your messages out there for folks so that you're in the inbox when they're looking. And then for travel industry, the holiday travel season extends over 21 days. And just a reminder that people's priorities shift in January when they start planning for their summer holidays. So, just make sure that you're in there with that. Like maybe the last week of December, you're touting last minute, New Year's Eve getaway deals. But then early January, you shift to that, hey, spring break's coming, go ahead and book, and then also book your summer getaway. And then as far as trends, just a reminder, micro moments, video and email, definitely do that. Begin to use smarter content when you can, spicing up your backgrounds, making your commercials into gifts, pulsing your buttons, emboxing your content. Those are all things that if you're not currently doing, or maybe you're doing some of them but not all of them, you could go ahead and maybe pepper in a couple of these in 2018 and just see how and if it helps your campaigns perform even better than they already have. So that's all that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for your time, and we will follow up on any questions that were asked, and you should be getting a copy of this presentation deck as well. So thank you everybody for your time, and have a great day.